and welcome everybody from Kuala Lumpur, the capital of Malaysia. We will visit all sightseeing attractions of this very beautiful and huge city, but before that I will tell you some very interesting facts and stories about it. Approximately 2 million people are living here, but if we consider the whole metropolitan area, then in the Klang Valley, this is how this area is called, 7.5 million people are living. Well, not everybody knows that actually Kuala Lumpur means in Malay language muddy confluence, because it is situated at the confluence of two very muddy rivers actually, Gombak and Klang. The city was established approximately in 1857 in that time, because Chinese workers came here and they established tin mines, and actually they were the first settlers of this city. We should add that Kuala Lumpur is a very multicultural city. You can imagine that 46.6% of the population is Malay and 41.6% are Chinese and 10% are Indian. So yeah, you can find it's very multicultural, and that's also valid for the cuisine. So you will find here a lot of amazing street foods. Klang means confluence in Malay language and Lumpur means mud, but actually there is a problem with this naming, because the Gombak river is the smaller one, and usually in Malay logic the confluence is named after the river which is joining a larger river, so this place actually should be named Kuala Gombak. Sungai Lumpur was a little tin mining town in the 1820s, and it means muddy river, and some theories state that this establishment also played the role of naming Kuala Lumpur, which was established some decades later. Another theory states that the Chinese Cantonese word Lam Pa, which means flooded jungle, was the initiator of the naming of Kuala Lumpur. There are no contemporary evidences for these anecdote theories, but they are very interesting, so that's why I was talking about it. Kuala Lumpur is among the fastest growing regions of Southeast Asia, both in population and economic development. Public transportation is very developed here, and when I say very developed, I put an accent on it, because the metro system is absolutely amazing. You have like 7-8 lines of metros, so you can get everywhere very quickly and very cheap, and they are usually also on time. So I would compare it with South Korea or with Japan, because it's really well developed. You cannot compare it with Bangkok and Vietnam, and also the traffic is usually not so bad. Well, there are also some buses here and also an airport link, so you can literally get everywhere, and it's also very cheap. If I would count it in euro or US dollars, just for some half euro or half dollar you can get a one-way ticket. So yeah, it's very cheap. Usually I take the metro because well, you will not get in a traffic jam, so that's very recommended. It's also very easy to get from the airport to the city. Kuala Lumpur is a real tourist gem, because actually before the pandemic, when they made the statistics about the most visited cities of the world, well, I think maybe after 2022 we can make another new statistics, but well, let's see, let's wait about it. There will be new virus mutant version, or I don't know. I'm still crazy about this, that still some countries don't let tourists in because they think that COVID is still dangerous, and well, I don't want to enter in this topic. Actually, what I wanted to say is that before pandemic, Kuala Lumpur was the 6th most visited city of the world, so that's a very high ranking for the city. You can find here a lot of beautiful attractions. The city serves as a cultural, financial and economic center of Malaysia, and it is also home to the Parliament of Malaysia, and also the National Palace of Malaysia is here, which is the residence of the Yang di Pertuan Agong, which is unofficially the King of Malaysia, the monarch of Malaysia. Actually, historians don't really know who established the city of Kuala Lumpur. There were already some establishments, some tiny small cities for tin mining in the 1820s and in the 1840s. Mostly Chinese immigrants and Sumatrans were working here, and approximately in 1857 they decided to make another tin mine here at the confluence of the Gombak and the Klang rivers, and this is how Kuala Lumpur was formed. But there are no actual names or real persons who we know that they established this town of Kuala Lumpur. Those tin mines were like 16 kilometers far from Kuala Lumpur, which I mentioned that those were established in the 1820s and 1840s. In 1857, the Raja of the city of Klang, Abdullah bin Raja al-Jafar, decided that some tin mines must be established here at the confluence of the Gombak and the Klang rivers, and with the aid of his brother and of some Chinese businessmen from Malacca, he could gather the money to bring some more Chinese workers here, and they were sent to work in new tin mines here at this confluence. Well, we could consider indirect way that this Raja established Kuala Lumpur, but we cannot really say that because he just sent these workers here for tin mining, so that's not like establishing a city. Well, I also wanted to explain what is the title of Raja. It is like a king or a princely ruler on the Indian subcontinent and also used in the Southeast Asian countries. There were some problems with these Chinese workers because they formed gangs, and these gangs were fighting against each other. There were also some bloody conflicts, and after they introduced a new title which was called Capitan China, which was like a captain between these gangs, and these captains tried to solve the conflicts between the gangs. So those times Kuala Lumpur was just a small village, and the houses were built of atap, which is palm frond thatching. They were prone to catching fire, and the people who were living there constantly suffered of political and social tensions, because these gangs were almost constantly fighting, and in a big gang war in 1872 the whole Kuala Lumpur was burned to the ground. And there were also flooding, which was a big problem because the rivers were so close, and also sanitation was a big issue, and because of that the diseases were spreading very quickly. For example, there was an outbreak of cholera, and malaria was a constant issue. So in the 19th century Kuala Lumpur was rebuilt several times because well, the city was burned to the ground or because of the flooding. Also, these atap buildings couldn't survive the flooding, of course. So yeah, the locals had a lot of problems living here. The changes were initiated by the British government because that time Malaysia was under British ruling, and they moved the capital of the British colonial state Selangor from the city of Klang to Kuala Lumpur, because they recognized that Kuala Lumpur has a more strategic location, and it is much better situated. So the changes were made that these atap buildings were demolished, and they were constructing new buildings from bricks and tiles. And a Chinese captain, Capitan Yap Aloy, saw a big business opportunity in this, and he bought a field where he established a brick factory, and he was delivering the brick for the British, because they were constructing a lot of offices here and government buildings. Well, that part which was purchased by this Chinese captain, Capitan Yap Aloy, is now the Brickfields quartier of Kuala Lumpur, and it's also full of Airbnb flats, so a lot of tourists hire their flat to stay during their visit of Kuala Lumpur. The British also took care of the streets, that they will be cleaned and they will be more wider than before, so fire will not be spread so easily from one building to another. But well, brick and tiles were not so flammable anyway. They also established here a police. Slowly the discipline was more increased here, so it was a more safe city than before. The city was slowly growing after this initiative of this British colonial administration. And this is the confluence of the two rivers of the Klang and Gombak, and they unite their waters actually. And in front of us we can see the very old mosque, Masjid Jamek, and I will tell a story about it later. Kapitan Yap Aloy was a key figure of that period because he was recognized the leader of the Chinese society by the British colonial government, and also he had equal rights and roles as the leaders of the Malay community. This is how it could happen that he was leading the local court and also a police which was containing 6 men, and he also built a prison which could host 60 people for one time. He was also the one who constructed the first school of Kuala Lumpur and also a tapioca mill. This was such a successful period that the population grew from 4,500 to 20,000 in just 6 years. In 1896 the British decided to unite the Malayan colonial states, and they formed the Malayan Federated States, and its capital was Kuala Lumpur. This federation lasted until 1946, when they also attached Melaka and Penang to this federation, and then they called it the Malayan Union. 2 years later it was renamed again, and it was called the Malayan Federation, and this Malayan Federation actually gained its independence in 1957. In 1963 North Borneo, Sarawak and Singapore also joined this independent country, and they formed Malaysia. But well, some years later Singapore left this union, actually already called Malaysia, because of cultural differences, and as we all know, currently Singapore is a separate country. During the Second World War in 1942 the Japanese Imperial Army occupied Kuala Lumpur, and during the battles the buildings were not destroyed, but the occupation resulted in a significant loss of lives. 5,000 Chinese were killed, and many Indians were transported to the labor camps of Burma in order to construct the Burmese railway, and there were such bad conditions that many Indians passed away there. Only on 15th August of 1945 the Japanese surrendered and left Kuala Lumpur after the atomic bombings of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. This is the Merdeka Square, which is in English the Independence Square. We can see the flag of Malaysia, and at this point we could find back in time the British colonial flag, which was lowered on 31st August of 1957 when the Federation of Malaya gained its independence from the British rule, and for the first time the Malayan flag was raised. There was also a ceremony where the Declaration of Independence was held at this place by the first Prime Minister of Malaya, Tunku Abdul Rahman. There you can also see a text label Dataran Merdeka, which means Merdeka Square. And well, this square was called in the colonial times Padang. It was a place of training for the policemen in the time of Kapitan Yap Aloy, when he had those 6 policemen in the beginning. And also important square for the British administration. We should also add that Kuala Lumpur was always the capital. It didn't matter that it is called the Federation of Malaya, which gained its independence in the beginning, or later Malaysia. Kuala Lumpur always standed as capital. It's very interesting that some government offices are not located here, despite this is the capital. They are located in Putrajaya. A fun fact is that Kuala Lumpur gained its status of a city actually only in 1972, despite it was the capital, and well, it was the largest city of Malaysia. So that's everything about interesting details about Kuala Lumpur and some historical introduction. Let's start with the sightseeing. And if you're interested about more historical details of Malaysia, then you can visit the Museum Negara, which is the National Museum of Malaysia. It's a very beautiful building also, and they have very cool exhibitions. Well, I wanted to say about the cultural difference that we Europeans were so happy that we don't need to wear the face mask anymore. And here in Malaysia, this restriction was just lifted like some weeks ago. And well, outside you don't need to wear the mask, but inside it's still mandatory. And even though like 90% of the people on the streets they are still wearing the mask, so I'm absolutely amazed about it. It's like discipline and also, yeah, as I said, a big cultural difference that well, they take care of each other. That's also very nice, but I think it's a little bit exaggerated. I think this time COVID should be treated already just a simple flu, but well, this is only my opinion. You can visit Kuala Lumpur all over the year because it has always a good weather. Well, you can expect sunshine, and usually it's 30 degrees, and well, humidity is something with which you need to deal because it's more than 70%, but well, it's not that bad. And well, you can expect some tropical rainfall, but after it gets dry again, and you can enjoy sightseeing. So it's not like raining all days and you cannot go outside of your hotel. So that's why I recommend to travel here all over the year. It's a good choice. The Chan She Shu Yuan temple is actually a clan association building, and because it also has inside the temple a family temple, this is why it is called a temple. Well, in China, all people who have the same surname are belonging to an association which is called a clan, and the family names Chan, Chen and Ten are written with the same Chinese characters, so this is a very huge clan, and they were among the first people who settled here in Kuala Lumpur and built this building between 1896 and 1906, and they were also helping the other immigrants from China to find them a place to stay and also some job. So because of this history and because of the typical architectural style, which is kind of unique here in Kuala Lumpur, it is also belonging to the Malaysian national heritage. In the 1890s, Hokkien Chinese constructed the temple behind me because there's a graveyard on this hill and they came to pray here. Well, this temple is called the Guanyin Temple, and Guanyin was a bodhisattva. And what is a bodhisattva? Bodhisattva is a holy person who is already on the road of enlightenment but not yet became a Buddha. We can observe the big difference between the Taoist Chinese temple and the Buddhist Chinese temple already, that you need to take off your shoes before entering the Buddhist temple. And right in front of us we can find a Buddha statue. That's a happy Buddha. Malaysia gained its independence on 31 August 1957, and the Prime Minister Tunku Abdul Rahman, he was actually the first Prime Minister of Malaysia. In his public speech said first Merdeka, which means in Malay language independence, and this is the name of the skyscraper which you can see behind me. It will be the second tallest building of the world after the Burj Khalifa, so actually it will surpass the Shanghai Tower in China. It will be 678.9 meters high, and it's called actually Merdeka 118 because it will have 118 floors. Locals were not so happy about this construction because it cost 5 billion Malaysian ringgit, so it's very expensive. You can imagine how much does it cost to raise such a tall skyscraper. And well, they were thinking that that money should be invested more over in healthcare and in other parts in Malaysia, but the Malay government thinks that it is a good investment, and they will have a lot of offices in this building. It's not yet open to the public because constructions were not yet finished. Actually, they think that it will be finished at the end of this year, 2022. And after, I hope that I will take a vlog about this building. I think that the view will be absolutely amazing. Such a jungle within the city. Amazing. Well, we are close to the botanical garden, but anyway, I'm really amazed about this. I wouldn't go inside. Maybe I would meet a Malay tiger. This tree is also absolutely special. Now we'll visit a very old Chinese Taoist temple called Shenseya. It was established in 1864 by the captain of Kuala Lumpur, Capitan Yap Aloy. It is dedicated to two patron deities, Shenseya and Siseya. Yeah, their names are very similar, and that's why the temple is called like this. In the civil war of Kuala Lumpur, the Capitan Yap Aloy was guided and held by these two deities, so that's also related to this temple.
These are the two patron deities, Siseya and Shenseya. There is also a legend that these two patron deities were actually based on two real persons, Sheng Meng Li, Capitan of Sungai Ujong, and Chang Lai, Yap, loyal lieutenant. This is the central market of Kuala Lumpur, or as locals call it, Pasar Seni. It was established in 1888, as you can see, but it gained its current structure in the 30s. It was completed in 1937. It has been classified as a heritage site by the Malaysian Heritage Society, and now is used as a center for Malaysian culture, arts and handicrafts. The stalls are grouped into 3 separate zones. In Malay Street, Chinese Street and Little India. This also shows how multicultural KL is, because these 3 ethnic groups form the society in KL. There are shops that sell typical Petronas Twin Tower replicas, and also shops that sell the Wau Bulan, which is the traditional Malay dragon. And on the upper level of the central market you can find the food court, a lot of food stalls and restaurants. They also have Western cuisine, so you can also try how locals cook Western food. So you can find literally everything here. It's very recommended to visit the central market. On the upper level we can find the food court. You can find all kind of Malaysian, Indian and Chinese food here. It's absolutely amazing and very tasty, and also very cheap if you compare it to our prices, also cheaper than Romania, so it's absolutely incredible. What's very interesting that you have in the middle of this food court a cashier desk, so actually this is where you pay, and you go to each food stall, then there you get just a paper like a bill, and then you pay at the cashier desk. I'm interested about how they split the money later, the income. Nasi lemak, that's the Malaysian food, traditional Malaysian food. There's also Thai corner, and they have a lot of photos, a lot of pictures, and that's helping the tourists a lot to understand what kind of food is it. I think the locals understand it much easier, but not us. Please pay at the cashier. Looks absolutely delicious. Also some Western food, so if you get tired or your stomach is hurting already from a lot of spicy food, then you can also try some Western cuisine here. So I think it's absolutely worth to come to this upper level of the central market of Pasar Seni to try the food here.
Next to the central market you can find the Kasturi Walk. Here you can see many nice shops and also a few hawkers with typical Malaysian dishes, typical street food stalls. Guan temple is one of the oldest temples in Kuala Lumpur. It was established in 1888. It's a Taoist temple. Its first function was to solve the conflicts between the Chinese who were living in this part. Well, General Quan was a famous and very successful warrior of the Chinese history, and he was also called Guan Di or Guan Yi, and many had chosen to worship him for his very good fighting skills and very good strategies in the war. So he was named as the god of the war, and that's why this temple was named after him. They burning the incense, and this is how they pray.
This is incredible. In front of us you can see the statue of Gandhi, and on this table we can find 59 kilogram copper Chinese pole weapon. Many have been continuously swarming to this temple because they believed that this sword possesses a special power to bless and protect a person if she touches it. That's Gandhi in front of us and his altar.
Sri Maha Mariamman is the oldest Hindu temple in Kuala Lumpur. It was established in 1873 and it was first located near the KL Central, near the main railway station of the city, and it was moved 12 years later to this place where I'm standing now. Well, this was because it had an attap structure. What is that attap structure? It was mainly used some coconut trees and some very unstable wooden structure, so that's why they could just move it easily here, and then later it was reconstructed from brick. So actually what we can see now, it was constructed in 1968. This was also the year when they finished the Raja Gopuram tower, what you can see behind me. It's very richly decorated and it's 22.9 meters tall. It has 5 levels. And it has a lot of Hindu gods on it. It has a South Indian style. And Mariamman is popularly worshipped by overseas Indians, especially Tamils, because she is looked upon as their protector during their trips to foreign lands. So Mariamman is a manifestation of the goddess Parvati, an incarnation embodying Mother Earth with all her terrifying force. So she protects her devotees from unholy and demonic events. Let's go inside and check those beautiful decorations.
Ganesha.
This is the main entrance of the Chinatown, built in 2003, when this walking street, pedaling street, underwent a major renovation, which cost 11 million Malaysian ringgits. It's absolutely beautiful. And this pedaling street is like a main shopping street of the Chinatown. You can haggle here, and it's usually crowded with locals as well as tourists. The area has dozens of restaurants and food stalls serving local favorites such as Hokkien mee, ikan bakar, which is a barbecued fish, or Assam laksa, and also curry noodles. So there are a lot of local foods here, and traders are of course mainly Chinese, but you can also find here Indian, Malay and Bangladeshi traders. If you're a football fan, it's also recommended to come here because you can purchase a lot of cheap football t-shirts which look like original, but of course they are fake. For example, look at that, that's a Manchester United t-shirt for only 15 ringgit, which is like 3 euros. So it's very cheap. And also you can find here a lot of souvenirs like small Petronas towers or everything related to Hindu religion or Buddhist religion or other small decorations.
Drink.
This is Jalan Alor, another street food street actually. So if Petaling Street is not enough for you, then I recommend to come here. You can find all kind of food here: Thai, Vietnamese, Chinese, Malay, everything. And well, what I wanted to say also that Jalan means in Malay language street. So it's actually the Alor street. Ikan bakar is a very famous local fried fish. And if you don't want to eat on the street, you can also find a lot of air-conditioned Chinese restaurants, so you can also go inside. Well, in the evening it's not so hot, but still I wanted to add this information if you would like. Also frog here. Yes, you can find everything.
Chinees, of dat, whatever. Mag even daar. Chibier. Zo, we hebben chibier probeer.
This is the KLCC Convention Center, which is a convention and exhibition center in the city center of Kuala Lumpur. But we are not interested about this. We are interested about the Aquaria KLCC, which is Malaysia's largest single saltwater tank, filled with 2.5 million liters of salt water. So we'll go inside and admire the very beautiful 150 species of marine life what we can find here. These are piranhas. Poor guy was not so lucky. It was not a good idea to sit in a tank full with piranhas. Such a big joke. Red lionfish. I think this is the ugliest fish which I ever saw. This one is huge.
The absolute highlight of this aquarium is a 90 meters long underwater tunnel where the fishes are swimming around you. Absolutely incredible. This shark was very close. It's a little bit overcrowded. Golden aroma. This Moorish-style colonial building was constructed between 1894 and 1897, and that time it was just simply called the government offices because the British government had its headquarters here. And after Malaysia gained its independence, of course it was renamed, and now it is called Sultan Abdul Samad building. Sultan Abdul Samad was the Sultan of Selangor during the time when this building was constructed. The building houses both the offices of the Ministry of Communications and Multimedia and the Ministry of Tourism and Culture of Malaysia. Well, other ministries moved to Putrajaya, that's why we cannot find here more offices, and also the Supreme Court was here back in time, but that was moved into other building in Kuala Lumpur. Behind the building flows the Klang River and Gombak River's confluence, and in the middle
we can find where the two rivers meet, the Masjid Jamek mosque, and well, there we can also go inside. I would be really interested to go also here inside and discover the interior design of this very beautiful old colonial era building, but as I said, two ministries still operating here, so that's the reason why we are not allowed to go there. Now we'll visit one of the oldest mosques of Kuala Lumpur, Masjid Jamek, completely Sultan Abdul Samad Masjid Jamek. Well, in Malay language, Jamek means the same as in Arabic Jami, and it's a place of worship for the Muslim believers. The locals also call it Friday Mosque and is located at the confluence of the rivers Gombak and Klang. It was constructed in 1907. It was designed by Arthur Benison Hubeck in Moorish, Indo-Saracenic and Mughal architecture, and he also designed many other buildings in that colonial era, and for example the central station of Kuala Lumpur. The mosque was built on an old Malay burial place, and it cost $32,600 US dollars. At that time it was a huge amount of money, so locals together with the British colonial government gathered this money together to construct this mosque. This was the national mosque of Kuala Lumpur until 1965, when the Masjid Negara, the national mosque of Kuala Lumpur, was constructed. Well, that is much bigger, and it can accommodate much more worshippers, so the construction was very logical at that time. One travel advice: if you want to visit the mosque, you should consider the schedule for the non-Muslim visitors. It is not open for them every time. On Friday is always closed, and on other days you can visit the mosque between 8:30 and 12:30, and afternoon between 14:30 and 16:30. This time we will visit the Petronas Twin Towers. It's a 451.9 meters tall building, and it was the tallest one in the world between 1998 and 2004. Well, it's been surpassed by a lot of other buildings in the meanwhile. I also presented you one of them, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. The 88th floor towers are constructed largely of reinforced concrete with a steel and glass facade. This facade was designed to resemble motifs found in the Islamic art, a reflection of Malaysia's Muslim religion. The Twin Towers were designed by Cesar Pelli, an Argentinian-American architect, and a postmodern style was used intentionally because they wanted to give a 21st century landmark for the city, and that was successful because the Twin Towers became like a symbol of the development of Kuala Lumpur, and it's one of the most visited sightseeing attractions here. The Prime Minister of Malaysia, Mahathir bin Mohamad, inaugurated the Petronas Twin Towers on 31 August of 1999. Constructions took place actually 7 years. They started excavations on the 1st March of 1993, which involved moving 500 of truckloads of earth each night, because they needed to dig down 30 meters to have a very stable ground for these towers. On the right side you can see the Tower 1, and the left side is the Tower 2. The Malaysian government specified that the buildings must be completed in 6 years. So because of that, two construction consortia were hired to meet this deadline, one for each tower. Tower 1 was built by a Japanese consortium led by Hazama Corporation, while Tower 2, the East Tower, was built by a consortium led by the Samsung C&T Corporation, who later also built the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Absolutely amazing skyscraper, 88-story building. Construction cost $1.6 billion, you can imagine. I would also like to tell you one funny story about the Petronas Twin Towers. Alain Spider-Man Robert, who is a French urban climber, climbed to Tower 2 in just 2 hours using only bare hands and feet without any safety devices. Absolutely crazy. And this happened in 2009. Actually, he had 2 other attempts to climb the Tower 1 and also the Tower 2, but he got arrested by the police every time. His first attempt was in 1997, and he got arrested on the floor 60, and it's very funny that 10 years later he tried again on the other tower, and he managed to climb again only just to the floor 60, because the police arrested him on the same level actually, but on the other tower. But well, finally he could manage it, and well, that's really crazy, and well, maybe big congratulations to him, but absolutely amazing. Or I don't know, it's too dangerous, so I will not recommend to anybody to try to do this crazy move. In Tower 1 you can find the offices of Petronas, the national oil and gas company of Malaysia, owned by the Malaysian government. And in the second tower you can find very famous and very rich companies, well, the offices of these companies like Microsoft, IBM, Reuters, Boeing, and also Huawei, and well, also many others. It is recommended to book your ticket online because you can save time, and also the number of tourists are limited who can go inside, so there are like time slots when you can go inside, and well, it will be absolutely amazing because we will also go to that bridge between the two towers, of course. The ticket cost 80 Malaysian ringgit, which is like 16 euros.
Petronas Twin Towers also feature a double-decker sky bridge connecting the two towers on the 41 and 42 floors, which is the highest two-story bridge in the world. It's 170 meters above the ground, and it's 58.4 meters long. Its weight is 750 tons. Absolutely amazing view. At the beginning of the vlog I was there in that park. It's actually very annoying because there are a lot of Chinese sellers who want to sell you some kind of lenses which you can attach to your phone, to any kind of phone, and they said that you can take a better photo of the Petronas Twin Towers with those lenses. Well, I don't trust them, and anyway I don't buy such stuff from the street. And well, it's the most annoying that there are like at least 20 of them. They keep coming to ask you if you want to buy those lenses. Now we are on the floor 86. We'll have an amazing view from here.
Da darf doch eigentlich niemand raus, oder? Das ist nur für Wartungszwecke.
Unser Büro, Adler auch erkennen. Du siehst dieses spitz zulaufende mit der roten Schrift oben. Ja. Und dahinter siehst du was.
There's the KL Tower in the background.
At the feet of the Petronas Twin Towers you can find the Surya KLCC, which is a large shopping mall. It is 140,000 square meters, you can imagine. It's one of the largest shopping malls of Malaysia. You can find here more than 300 stores. On the other side of the Petronas Twin Towers we can find an artificial lake with a very nice fountain. Well, in the night there's also a symphony, which is a highlight of this fountain. It can shoot up water up to 280 meters. It's a man-made lake. And you can also see that there's a park. It is called the KLCC Park. When it was designed, the aim was to leave the world a little more sensitive and a little more educated to the importance of the nature, because the park was designed together with the Petronas Twin Towers. So who designed the Twin Towers actually was thinking about that, well, we are constructing a lot of skyscrapers and there's no place for trees and for the nature, and that's not right, not good. So that's why this KLCC Park was created together with the skyscrapers. The park was designed to showcase a heritage of tropical greenery. Well, we are in Malaysia, so That's also a highlight. We will also walk a little bit there. I just wanted to give you some information about it first. So it's actually a contrast as a calm environment in the hustle and bustle of the city, and well, also next to these skyscrapers. The park was designed by Roberto Burle Marx, and it is said that it was the last work undertaken by this Brazilian architect. It's absolutely jungle feeling. It's really worth to take a walk in this KLCC park. Absolutely amazing trees. It is also worth to come here in the evening because the night lights are absolutely amazing. I really love this view. Absolutely splendid. Surya KLCC. Now we escape the hustle and bustle of Kuala Lumpur in order to come out to the nature. We are 15 kilometers far approximately from the city, and well, this is Batu Caves, very beautiful limestone caves here, and also famous for the Hindu shrine which can be found inside the temple cave. As you can see in the background, there is a huge statue of the Hindu god called Lord Murugan, son of Parvati and Shiva. We will go, of course, inside and admire these beautiful caves. Well, the most beautiful is the temple cave. This is the one with the Hindu shrines, and I also wanted to say that you can come here very easily. It's just like 40 minutes far from KL Central, the main station of Kuala Lumpur. These limestone hills were formed approximately 400 million years ago, and it was not used for Hindu shrine approximately until the 19th century. In 1860s, the Chinese settlers used these caves to excavate guano in order to fertilize their vegetable patches. The Hindu shrine of Batu Caves was established in 1890 by a Tamil Indian trader, Tambusami Pillai, the same person who established the Sri Mahamariamman temple in KL. Wooden steps up to the temple cave were built in the 1920s, and in the 1930s the stairs began to show signs of wear already, and that's why they were replaced by concrete steps. Currently there are 272 concrete steps. It's very interesting that I visited this temple in March 2018, and that time it was not yet colored, so it's actually a new site, because in August of 2018 they colored the steps, but it was some problems with that, because the Malaysian National Heritage Department saw this as a breach of law. They said that the temple's management didn't discuss this coloring with them, and it is not allowed to do something like this at a heritage site, and they are still discussing if it was legal or not legal, but well, the temple's management disputed their failure to receive an authorization, so it's still in discussion. Okay, let's walk up 272 steps. It will be very nice. Usually a lot of long-tailed macacos, cute monkeys are on the way. And they can be dangerous if you have some kind of food with you, so be aware that they can also bite. The stairs are a little bit steep, it's not an easy climb. In Malay language, Batu means rock, so actually it is rock caves. I don't think that the locals were very creative when they named this place. This is one of the most popular Hindu shrines outside of India. And the Batu caves also serve as the focus of the Indian Tamil community's yearly Thaipusam festival. They have become a pilgrimage site not only for Malaysian Hindus but Hindus worldwide. Devotees carry containers containing milk as an offering to Lord Murugan, either by hand or in huge decorated carriers on their shoulders, which are called kavadi. These monkeys are really funny. They are running here around and around. I don't think they are hunting for pigeons, but who knows. So this was the temple cave. Let's go further and discover the Ramayana cave. Below the temple cave there is another cave, the dark cave, which is 2 kilometers long, and it has a very special ecosystem, and because of that they decided to not open for the public, so access is restricted. This is how they protect the animals living in the dark cave. The Ramayana cave is situated to the extreme left as one faces the sheer wall of the hill. On the way to the Ramayana cave there is a 15 meters tall statue of Hanuman. He is a Hindu god and a divine Vanara, the monkey god actually, companion of the god Rama. And about the story and legend of Hanuman and Rama, I also told a story in a vlog, in a very old vlog from India, so I will link that for you. Actually it's in Hungarian language, but it's with English subtitle. Yeah, back those times I don't have so many preparations for my vlogs, and it was also not 4K. Actually that time I just made my vlogs for a Facebook page, not for the YouTube, and I posted those lately. But about this I also told my story, how my vlogging started, but that's something else. So yeah, the construction ceremony of this temple was held in November 2001, and the cave is famous for 21 species of bats. It's surprising that I cannot find any monkeys here now. When I was here 4 years ago, then this place was full with monkeys. I will add a recording from those times. Probably they are all regrouped to the temple cave because the tourists are feeding them there with banana, so they are just waiting there. Here not many people, as you can see. I barely found some tourists.
Can we get a picture?
I think this Hindu god got too many heads. It's a little bit too much.
Now we'll visit the art gallery cave. You can find here moreover Hindu paintings. The art gallery cave is also called Cave Villa, or actually they are both together. There's a separate coach for ladies only. This time we'll go to a culinary sightseeing, because we will try all kind of local foods, and Kuala Lumpur is a very multicultural city, so we can find here Malaysian, Chinese and Indian food, so it will be absolutely amazing. This is the ikan bakar, an Indonesian and a Malaysian dish prepared with charcoal grilled fish or other forms of seafood. Now I ordered fish. Ikan bakar literally means roasted fish in Indonesian and Malay languages. Ikan bakar differs from other grilled fish dishes in that it often contains flavorings like bumbu. Bumbu is a spice mix which usually contains ginger, turmeric, galangal, nutmeg and pepper, and it's also used sweet soy sauce is used, and other spice pastes. As you can see, there's also some chili, and it's covered in a banana leaf. This is the banana leaf here, and cooked on a charcoal fire. Well, I also ordered here a side dish which is a vegetable mix, and of course some rice is always coming. This is nasi goreng. It's a Southeast Asian fried rice dish, usually cooked with pieces of meat and vegetables. It's actually Indonesia's national dish, but it is also endemic in Malay-speaking communities in countries such as Malaysia, of course, and Singapore, and also Brunei. Nasi goreng is distinguished from other Asian fried rice preparations by its distinct smoky aroma and caramelized but yet very savory undertones of flavor. There's actually no single defined recipe for nasi goreng, and its composition and preparation varies from household to household. Actually, the word nasi goreng means fried rice in both Indonesian and Malay languages. This is a very interesting Malaysian street food rice dish, in which a blue colored rice is eaten with dried fish or fried chicken. Now I choose chicken. So the blue color of this rice comes from the petals of a flower of the Clitoria ternatea in the Latin language, but in English it's a butterfly pea. This is how it is called, and this is used as a natural food coloring in cooking this blue rice. It is often eaten with keropok, which is a cracker made from starch or animal skin. This is the keropok which you can see here. In addition, sometimes they also add some vegetable mix. Now this is not the case, and well, sometimes it's also served with seafood, but usually with chicken or with fish.
Okay, sir. Delicious.
It was very good, thank you. Tasty, tasty. Blue rice.
Okay. Adik,
Thank you, boss.
Okay.
Lepas tu kalau nak bekas
This is the national dish of Malaysia, nasi lemak. It is originating from the Malay cuisine that consists of fragrant rice cooked in coconut milk and pandan leaf. It is commonly found in Malaysia, so it is really the national food of Malaysia. Usually served on banana leaf. This is missing now, and it can be served with fried egg, seafood, fried chicken or beef. Now I ordered it with chicken, and sometimes it's also served with chicken curry. As I also see that I got some roasted peanuts. This is also a very popular dish in Kuala Lumpur, moreover in the Chinatown, because many Chinese came here in the end of the 19th century, moreover from the Hokkien province, and they made this dish very popular here. It's called Hokkien mee, and it's yellow noodles braised in a thick dark soy sauce, usually served with pork, or you can also see that here is a shrimp and cabbages, and sometimes also with cubes of pork fat fried until crispy. It has its dark color because of dark soy sauce. So this is actually the stir-fried variant of this Hokkien dish. So this dish is called satay. It is very flavorful because they use a lot of local spices. Actually, it's not a big deal. It's just fried chicken and fried beef meat and some broccoli, as you can see, and green peas. So that's not the big deal, but they use some Asian and local spices. That's why it is a very local dish. You can say it's called satay. So, and you can also use some extra spices if you would like. This is a fried crab. It tastes extremely good. Absolutely amazing flavor. Then let's also try some Indian food. This is the famous chicken biryani, which is Indian rice with chicken meat. And I also get a very fresh apple juice, which I really like, and I think this is some kind of spicy sauce. That's very good because I love spicy, so I will just put it on my rice. This dish is called curry laksa, or mee curry in Malay language. This is a typical preparation of Malaysian style curry mee, which consists of thin yellow noodles or rice vermicelli immersed in a spiced broth, enriched with coconut milk, with chili and probably sambal. Sambal is like a spice mix. Potential toppings for this curry mee include chicken, prawns, cuttlefish, cockles, boiled eggs, pieces of deep fried tofu puffs, green beans, bean sprouts and mint leaves. Now you can see that I have here some fried chicken, boiled egg and the green beans. This is the mee curry. This is sendol, which is an iced sweet dessert that contains droplets of green rice flour jelly, as you can see, and frozen coconut milk with palm sugar syrup. It's very, very sweet. It's not typical Malay because we can find it almost everywhere in Southeast Asia, including Malaysia of course, and Brunei, Cambodia, Vietnam and Thailand, also in Singapore. It's very interesting that it's also a bean there. I was very surprised about this. This is called sweetened red azuki bean. So it's actually okay in the desert. This is a local dessert called ABC. It's very famous here and it's with coconut milk. It's very interesting. But it also contains beans and I don't know what are these green noodles, but it's very tasty. Probably it's because of the coconut milk. And I don't know what is this gelatin, but it's also sweet. Actually, it's refreshing in this hot weather, so yeah, It's totally interesting. If you are in Malaysia, it's also a must to drink a fresh coconut. It's absolutely amazing. I really love it. Many tourists threw away the coconut after they drank the coconut milk, but me not. I asked the seller to cut it in two, and then with a spoon you can actually eat the coconut gelatin. It's absolutely tasty. Very good dessert, or also for breakfast. It's absolutely amazing. This is the durian, Southeast Asia's fruit. It has an acquired taste. Some people regard the durian as having a pleasantly sweet fragrance, whereas others find the aroma overpowering and unpleasant. The smell evokes reactions from deep appreciation to intense disgust, and has been described variously as rotten onions, turpentine and raw sewage. Durian lovers say it has a sweet custardy taste with the texture of creamy cheesecake. The persistence of its odor, which may linger for several days, led certain hotels and public transportation services in Southeast Asia to ban the fruit. This is the dragon fruit, also called pitaya. It's cultivated in Peru, Mexico, Southeast Asia, Australia, United States, and through a lot of tropical regions. It has a slightly sweet taste, cross between a kiwi and a pear. It strengthens your immune system, may boost low iron levels, and it's a good source of magnesium. This is mee basso noodle soup with some meatballs. Looks extremely delicious. And I also like these sambals to it. Some chili and chili mixed with, I don't know. Now we'll visit the KL Tower, the Kuala Lumpur Tower, which is 421 meters high, and it's a telecommunication tower, the 7th tallest in its category in the whole world. Well, it is 421 meters tall, but we will go just 300 meters high, because there's the sky deck. There we will have an amazing view of the whole city. It is used for broadcasting, of course, by many television and radio companies, and we will not get bored anyway, because in the nearby we can also find an upside down house, which is very funny, and also mini zoo. So yeah, I hope that we will have time to visit also these. The constructions were finished on the 1st March of 1995, and that time it was the tallest building of Malaysia, but 3 years later the Petronas Twin Towers were completed, and of course they were taller than this KL Tower, but this tower is built on a hill, so that's why actually we can have much better views of the city than from the Petronas Twin Tower. It's a very interesting story, and we can see how locals protect the nature, and they really love the nature. That on the construction site there was a 100 years old jelutong tree, and they just didn't cut it down. They invested 430,000 Malaysian ringgit to move this tree to other place, and this is how they protected it. The upper area of the tower also contains a revolving restaurant, providing dinners with a panoramic view of the city. Of course it is included in the price, but well, I just wanted to tell you that there is also a possibility to have such a dinner here. The main lobby of the upper ground floor is decorated with exquisite glass-clad domes. These sparkle like giant diamonds. Absolutely amazing. But it's just glass, not diamond. Yes, this is what we came before. Absolutely amazing view. And no glasses, that's a very big advantage of KL Tower, I think. Because in the Petronas Twin Towers you can just admire the view through the windows, and that's not the same. And also you cannot take very good photos or videos. But here you can find also a so-called skybox, which is actually like a glass cabin. It's nothing under you. So it's not recommended for those who are afraid of the height. It's just glass under you. That's why you need to stay in the queue, because, well, not so many people are allowed on the same time on this glass skybox. This is the new building, the new skyscraper of Kuala Lumpur, Merdeka 118. I will tell you some more about it in the complete vlog about Kuala Lumpur. Each year they also organize a running competition in this KL Tower. 2058 steps. I don't think it's easy. Sky Cafe. This is the upside down house. If you're interested about it, then I can recommend, but it's not really for me. It's like a museum of illusions when your head is served on a plate. Almost every city has some kind of illusion museum, so well, it's not really my style. So if you like to have some fun inside, then you can try it. Now we visit the KL Tower mini zoo.
rooms. Surikata. Hey.
对，遮住有，不要放手嘞。哎呦，你放手了？没有了。
这牙帮
拿住，不要放手，给那一只龟。
有个单干，有个单干。
好了，那个手我给。
哎，那只有，给那只，给那只。
这个大大的。
给大大的，老老的。
都不要丢。
还没做完。好的。走了走了。哇，好大哟！
Now we will visit the Perdana Botanical Garden, which is the largest park in KL. It lays on 91.6 hectares, so it's absolutely large, and it was established in 1888. This colonial era park was a brainchild of the treasurer of Selangor, a British statesman called Alfred Venning. Well, already back those times it was designated to have a refugee from the hustle and bustle of the city, and well, also now you can be happy to walk in this silent park, but you can also find here hibiscus and orchid garden and a bird park and also a butterfly park, so it's absolutely amazing.
This is a gum tree, it's called rainbow gum. Never thought that I will see such a tree. And I'm really curious how they make the rubber from this one. Probably it's an interesting process. We can also find a deer park here. It's like we are in the jungle. This is the deer park. I was expecting for more. Poor animals in this heat. It's very tough for them. Well, it's 33 Celsius degrees, but the humidity is very high, as usual in Kuala Lumpur. That's normal. There's also one more. This is the bird park. It's a huge nest. I'm very curious which kind of tropical birds we will see inside. Very exotic birds, that's for sure. I think we saw this one, cattle egret. I would not recognize unless they are photos, because well, I'm not a bird specialist. It's also a good idea to come here just for this jungle feeling. It's very, very beautiful. That's the great hornbill. This is the Asian black hornbill. southern cassowary. Its natural habitat is tropical rainforests in Papua New Guinea and in Australia. Very interesting animal. Amazing. At least I recognize these. These are emus. This is the hibiscus, the national flower of Malaysia. Now it's not really flowering, as you can see, it's like drying out already. And the orchid garden is closed because of renovation, so we'll also skip that from this vlog. But I think it was very nice to escape the hustle and bustle of the city.
So this was the whole travel film about Kuala Lumpur, the capital of Malaysia. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if that's so, please subscribe to my channel if you didn't do it yet. It's very important to push on the bell icon, because this is how you get notified about the new contents. Have a nice day, have a nice evening, goodbye.